Hi, it's Miss Shelley, and I'm going to give you your bedtime story for tonight. Tonight's bedtime story, the title is The Lord's Supper, and we're going to read out of the 101 Bible Bedtime Storybook. Starts like this. It was nearly time for the Passover feast, and a kind man had set aside a room for the disciples to prepare for it. That night, when they were eating, Jesus wrapped a towel around his waist, filled a basin with water, and then, kneeling on the floor, began to wash and dry the disciples' feet, just like a servant. The disciples were speechless, but when he knelt before Simon Peter, the disciple protested, "Lord, you shouldn't wash my feet." Jesus gently replied, "You don't understand what I'm doing, but later it will be clear to you." Jesus had washed their feet like a servant so they could learn to do the same for one another. Jesus knew he would soon have to leave his friends, and he was sad. "Soon one of you will betray me," he said. The disciples looked at one another in shock. When Judas left the room soon after, they didn't realize that he was the traitor or that he had gone to tell Jesus' enemies where to find him right now. Then Jesus handed out around the table some bread to represent his body, and then some wine to represent his blood, before telling them that he would soon leave them. Simon Peter cried out, "But Lord, why can't I follow you? I would gladly lay down my life for you." Jesus gently said, "Would you, my friend? You will disown me 3 times before the rooster crows." Peter was horrified. He didn't believe that he could do something like that. Here's some pictures of the story. First, you see that Jesus is bending down and washing the disciples' feet. Then there's a picture down here of Judas talking to the Pharisees, telling them where Jesus was going to be so they can go capture him. And then there's a picture right here of Jesus passing out the bread that represents his body, and then passing around the wine that's representing his blood. We do Lord's Supper ourselves, don't we? The second Sunday of every month. We do the same thing, and that's what we are supposed to do in remembrance of what Jesus did for us. Do you know what Jesus did for us? Well, as we continue to read these bedtime stories, if you don't know yet, you will. But for now, it is time for you to say your prayers and go to sleep. Make sure you tell everybody in the house good night before you go to bed. Until we see each other again, or talk to you, you have a wonderful night. Bye.